Morning, guys. So she's coming back apart. Owner came last night, took the hood off of it, helped me take that off. He's very happy with it. And so somebody asked, I think it's Rendress, asked about this part right here not fitting really well. The owner told me last night that he thought this had been dropped. I don't know if he dropped it or somebody else dropped it or whatever, but that makes sense because it was kind of bent a little goofy. So, but we got her fixed up. What else? Oh, the holes. He was also asking about the holes. These little 1/8" pilot holes. I just drilled one through here. That'll, you know, I'll stick my drill bit back in there and align that back up. Same for this side. And then 2 little pilot holes right here on both sides. And that's basically all I did as far as that goes. Everything else is going to be lined up by the doors and stuff like that, so I didn't feel like I needed to be punching any holes in this or anything. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, today I'm going to go ahead and pop the rest of the pop these off. I had some people asking me, and it's been some time ago, when I was closing these gaps up, what I was going to do about the inside. Well, once I pull these off, that's where I'll see what they look like, dress them up. If they need to be welded in a little more, I'll weld them in, and then I'm going to fiberglass the inside. I went and picked up some more Dynaglass because I ran out of the others that I had. But yeah, I'll just run me some fiberglass filler in the inside of that and also on the outside of this panel, but I'm going to go ahead and epoxy prime it first before I put the Dynaglass over top of that. So anyway, that's what I got going on today. I'm gonna go ahead and take these fenders off and find a place to put them. I've got the other parts off. I went ahead and covered the table because any oil and grease and shit that's on that table. Actually, to keep that from rusting, since it's a solid metal table, I actually spray WD-40 on that, and that keeps it from rusting. So I just wiped it down and put this paper over top of it. Now, another thing you guys might be cringing, going, oh, WD-40. Okay, well, from what I understand, WD-40 does not have silicone in it. A lot of people think it does, but I think their secret ingredient, from what I'm understanding, is fish oil. Which oil is oil, you don't want it on your parts, but it's not going to be as bad as like a silicone. So, but regardless, covered it up, make sure everything's good, whatever. What else? That's it. So yeah, that's what I'm doing today. I need to find a place to put that because it's taking up a lot of real estate right now, and I'm going to need that when I hang these. And I'll probably be priming these in the next several days. I think once I take these off and get those hooked up, I'm going to drill holes for the doors, and then I'll be able to take the doors off and start working those as well. So I kind of want to get everything worked out, and then I can start priming stuff, getting it kind of lined up here just to set up and start priming. That way, some of the advice I got on mixing was keep a couple of little parts extra just in case, you know, which makes perfect sense. So I'll start out with my fender, and if I have enough to do my other fender, I do it. And then if I have a little bit left over, then I can go ahead and shoot this panel, the front side or the back side, whatever, and then just remix more and kind of start gauging how much it takes. I figure once I figure out how much it takes for one fender, inside and out, it'll kind of give me an idea how much a door, how much a quarter panel, how much a roof, you know, kind of give me a ballpark, so that'll be good. So there you go. I'll holler back at you when I get her all broken down. See ya. Alright guys, I got this fender off. See these little guys right there? Now those are holding your fender basically to the firewall. Now you notice these little square nuts on the outside there? Well, that means that the bolts have to come through the back side. Well, let me just tell you that those are a pain in the ass to get to. Now, my question is, why didn't they do the same thing on this side? Because That is so easy. I mean, zip those right off there, no problem. Whole thing just pops right off. These are ass backwards to where you've got no, like literally no room, and I'm taking a wrench going like one little click at a time trying to get to it. I thought, what a pain in the ass. Why wouldn't they not make it the same on both sides? So I don't quite understand that. I may take that off there and kind of look at it and see if I can actually rearrange these and put these on the back, because what a pain in the butt. Anyway, so yeah, and I don't think it does anything for any kind of spacing. Maybe that's it. Maybe I didn't think about that. Could be the spacing part. Let's see. There's really nothing there on that side. And if you spun it around, I guess it would maybe make it kick out a little different or something. I don't know. I'll have to look at it for a minute. But yeah, what a pain in the butt. Anyway, that was the whole point of this. That was a massive pain in the butt to get that fender off just because of that. Had they made it like that, piece of cake. All right, I'll get that other fender off. See you. All right, here's another way of marking these. You can see I got all my shims all set up. These are actually where they were on the fenders: driver's side fender rear, driver's side fender upper, driver's side fender front, passenger side upper side, passenger side rear, and passenger side front. So there's 3 per side basically. You got your 2 on the bottoms back here, and then you got 1 up top, and that's all you've got for shims, or at least that's all I have for shims. I didn't shim the front. I think some people shim in here, and I didn't have to. So what else? Oh, I was going to tell you, for the guys who are haven't done their cars yet, or getting ready to do their cars or whatever, this is just my opinion, but if you think about it, it makes sense, or at least to me it does. Take these all off as one piece like I've done here, because the way I fitted these on, and I left my inner fender, or my fender welds in there, and I sit and stretch those, because you got to stretch them. It has to be down here at the bottom, and then you got to stretch it over the top, or you got to put it over the top and then stretch it over the bottom, and as you can see, they get scratched up real easy. So this is my thought on that. Basically what I'm going to do is break those apart. I'm going to, sand them down, get them all prepped, and get that painted. And I'm going to epoxy the inside of that. And then when I actually put these back on, I'm going to put that fender on the table, and I'm going to gently put that up in there and put it on just like I was putting it on the car, and put it back together just like that. Because then when you set it on the car, all you got to do is lift it over the tire, and pretty much everything else just slides right into place. There's no, like I said, scratching this stuff up because you're trying to pull this over top of that. It just scratches the shit out of it. So you got a freshly painted part, you don't want that. So that's going to be my way to do that, basically. And it goes together like that a whole lot easier than, like I said, trying to stretch that fender over it. If you can just kind of tuck that up in there like that from the side. What else? So fender's off, everything's off. Leaving the core support on there, no reason to take it off right. Okay, I got to drill my holes for my doors now. Now I've got access to these real easy. So I'll drill a hole here, probably drill a hole here. And then I'll drill a hole here and here to line these up. I think I'll drill holes in these before I pull those off, or when I'm starting to epoxy prime them. I know some people epoxy prime these all together. I don't know, if that's better or not better, but I'll have to see when I get there. Maybe some of you guys can chime in on that. I think the factory probably painted all that together, but I could be completely wrong. So let me know what you think on that. I hate to paint these little bushings and everything, you know, because everything's gonna get painted. The bolts will get painted. Everything gets painted when you do it that way. So to me, it'd be better just to take those completely off there, take the bolts out, hang them, paint them separately, maybe even tape these off, or I don't know. You're never gonna see them, but whatever. So yeah, I need to do that real quick. Now I can get to those real easy. And that's about it for right now. I'm gonna start working the insides of these panels here. And I'll lay these up on the table so you can see them a little better. But you can kind of see, yeah, I'm gonna have to lay those up on the table, but you can kind of see, there's the rod. And I could probably go ahead from the back side here and fill this little gap in and make that stronger, at least on this side, and then smooth it down and then fiberglass it. I'm not sure. I'll have to see what I think about that. So, about this one. Same. It's really almost, almost non-existent. I'm gonna have to prop this up a little better before it falls over on me. But yeah, you can see the rod here as it comes up. It actually looks really nice. Really turned out better on the back side than I thought it would. So I don't know, it may not even need to be messed with other than just sealed up with a little bit of fiberglass filler just to make sure that the water doesn't get in there in this gap in between there and start trying to rust it out from the inside. All right, guys, well, I'll bring you back to you. Hey guys, so I know we've talked about this little tool before. I picked this up used off of I think Craigslist, and it looks like it's in pretty rough shape, but the thing works so fantastic. This is an amazing tool, and you'll probably never use anything else if you can get your hand on this. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you don't have one of these, they're freaking fantastic. Okay, all I got is these here. I'll swap over, no, don't need to do that. These are 16s also. This is what we're talking about, literally that fast to get that out of there. Done deal. So that took me what, 30, 45 seconds to take out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bolts versus taking a wrench and sitting and having to. So, and these are cordless, come with a couple of batteries. I can't speak for any of the other ones. I know this is a snap-on, but the other ones, they may work just as well. But that sucker right there is worth its weight in gold. And these batteries last for a long time, and they're super freaking strong. They make this one, and this is a 3/8 drive, and then they make a 1/2-inch drive. The 1/2-inch drive, it'll take lug nuts off of a freaking truck. I mean, they're badass. This thing is pretty damn close to that. So anyway, just a little heads up, a little tool time for you. But yeah, you've seen how easy that came out of there. Now before I was stretching that over that, and it was scratching that here. Let me turn this where I can see what I'm seeing. Now you can see what I've done here by trying to stretch that over top of that, how bad that scratched that up. here. Now you don't want that when you've got this all painted up nicely. So now, when I get this painted up nice, I can just lay it back in there ever so easy. Maybe put a little tape here and there and kind of, you know, finesse it in there. So, yeah, I'm gonna have parts everywhere again. I'm losing my walking space pretty quickly. So, you know, let's go back and take a look at all this weld here. Now that I got this up here on the, you can see there, it needs to be cleaned up a little bit, just dressed up a little bit. And I think that I will go ahead and grind this down just a little bit, and I'll probably, I may just run me a set of beads just ever so often, and then fiberglass it. I don't know, I may seal it all the way up, but that's, I don't know, I'll figure it out, and then I'll tell you what I've done. I'll bring you back when I get to working on that. All right, guys, see ya. All right, I decided I'm gonna seam the back side of this up. You can see I've got the tacks in. I'm just gonna start sewing this thing up and then grind it down smooth. And I think that'll be the right way to do it. That way there's no chances of this little thing failing. Because when I ground this side down on this side, you don't really know how thin that is. So I'm going to go ahead and come back over this side and make sure that stays put. So, you know, and to put enough heat to actually penetrate all the way through that would have been a lot of heat, and I think it would have been. So to me, this is the best way. The front's nice and smooth and everything. So now if I can get this the same way, and then just put a little bit of fiberglass filler over both sides, I'm good to go. So it'll be nice and strong, there won't be any problems. And so that's how I'm doing it. I'm letting it cool down right now. And I'll probably just continue to do little tacks like that. I probably won't even run any beads really. I'll just keep tacking it all over the place until I get it completely filled in. Yeah, it shouldn't take too long, probably another 30 minutes or so. Alright guys, I'll bring you back, see you. Alright guys, there it is. Went ahead and seamed that up. And so, basically I just need to finish grinding it, and I'll probably put some fiberglass in there and be done with it. Just kind of knock that down real quick. I got to come back on these edges a little bit and just clean them up. I'll probably get a file and do that. Make sure that I keep this edge nice and crisp. You can probably see a little dimple sticking out there. Just every so often I kind of went over the edge just a tad, but I'll just file that back down by hand. And I built this up quite a bit, this edge, because it was a little thin, so I went ahead and just welded over the edge there a little bit, and I'll just go ahead and clean that back up too. Make sure that's dressed up real nice. Alright guys, I'll bring you back. Alright guys, I put a lot more love in this than I thought I was going to, but that's the way it is. You can see I went ahead and rounded, while I had this off, which is perfect, I went ahead and rounded that edge real nice to where it has a nice round transition. And you can see here I thickened this up quite a bit, and then went ahead and rounded it over. And you can see how nicely that transitions up and then comes up into that. And so, looking at the fiberglass filler, it says direct to metal. Doesn't say anything about putting it over epoxy, so I'll probably go ahead and fiberglass this direct to metal. I'll only have a small strip of fiberglass. Basically, once I block sand all that back down, it'll just be filling this little gap in here, which is that seam, which that's all you want anyway, just to waterproof that. Plus I'll have epoxy over top of that, which will also waterproof that. So you're going to be pretty much golden. But yeah, it turned out pretty nice. And I'll just fiberglass in here too, just to cover up these little divots and whatever else. Then smooth it down nice and slick. So there you go. Looks pretty good. Went ahead and hung those up there, get those out of the way. I'm gonna like that, I think. you know, I'll have to drop this bar down a little bit, but yeah, these eye bolts to be able to hook that down is going to work out real nice for me. What else? Oh, Daryl, we didn't talk about this yesterday, and I didn't tell you guys. He wants to go with a, it's called Gunsmoke Gray. It's a really dark gray. It's really pretty. It's got metallic in it with black stripes. So it's literally going to make the stripes look almost like a ghost stripe because the car will be as dark as it is. And I've looked those up, and it's a really awesome color. I'm really excited about it. But one thing is, on this, is being that dark, it's almost like black, so your car has to be freaking perfect. The body work's going to have to be really, really, really slick to make it look slick. So you guys know me, I'm pretty anal about that. So, but Daryl, this back panel, we didn't talk about this. Since you're going with that dark color and you're going with the black stripes, a lot of these Camaros will have this back panel blacked out. Now a lot of times it's satin, you know, so wasn't sure what you wanted to do with that, because if I'm going to be spraying all that gloss black, I didn't know if you wanted to do gloss on this also, where your gloss stripes would run down into this black panel in the back, or if you just want to leave that the same color. But I mean, we can talk about that anytime basically. But while I was doing the black, or when I start doing the black, I'd go ahead and do that area as well while I have that black out, doing it all. Because we talked about the insides being black, and then the whole firewall will be gloss black. The fender wells will be gloss black. So it'll be pretty glossed up in there inside the motor area. And of course the dash and everything else will be all gloss black. So, alright guys, that'll be it for me today. It's about 4:30. I'm going to go in and upload this video. I feel like I got a pretty good amount done today. I got pieces strung all over the shop. I still need to do that. I can't do it tomorrow. I'll be at the fire station. I have to go back to work finally. I've been on vacation forever. But yeah, I got to go back to the fire station, so I'll probably work on that Thursday. And also I got my other strip in for the front, for the threshold. Got it in 16 foot. You can see where all that, left all that white crap from it blowing underneath there. But the floor has to be at least 45 degrees to run that strip down. And it gets pretty stinking cold. I don't know exactly what the floor is right now. I'll take a look and see. You know, when I open the door, I don't know. Yeah, so it's 50 degrees down there on the floor, which would work, but I don't know if on the other side of that it's going to be probably a lot less. And it's about 66 degrees in here right now. So, all right guys, that's it. Made another mess. Oh, you guys, also the welding blankets. If you don't have one of those, they're really nice. You definitely don't want to weld on the furniture blanket, because you're going to end up catching it on fire. But these are seemed like this one was fairly inexpensive. Of course, I caught it with a grinder and dug a hole in it, but for the most part, they do a pretty good job keeping things from catching on fire. But all right, now I'm rambling, and that's what I do best. All right, see you guys.